that there was someone in my closet and he wanted to hurt me. I don't know why I said it. She got up to show me that no one was there. And when she walked in my room, the phone
Nightmare Files.
So this is a story that happened to me a few days ago. I was at my friend's house for a birthday party. She invited me and 3 other friends, so that was a total of 5 of us. For this story, I'll name them Carrie, Trina, Kalani, and JoJo. Carrie was the one who was throwing the party, and she was turning 13. Trina was also 13, and Kalani was 14, and the youngest, JoJo, was 12. I was the oldest, being 15. I didn't really know Trina and Kalani, but they were cool people. When we got to the party, we sat and talked for a bit, the normal things girls talk about, like boys. We ate food and began to get bored, so we asked Carrie's mom if we could go and walk around the neighborhood, and she agreed. We went to another part of the neighborhood that had a tennis court, and while we were there, we made TikToks. As we got bored, we ended up going back to the other direction of Carrie's house, and saw that at the end of the street had a house that had police tape over the trees. It also had a for sale sign, so we thought that there was no one living there at the time. So we came to the conclusion that it was abandoned. The house also had a lock on the door. We thought of this crazy idea to go up to the door to see if we could pick the lock and get inside so we could explore. The house had a new window on the left side of the door. It was tall enough to look out through to see if someone was at your house. They told me and JoJo to go up to the door to see because we were the only ones who would accept any dare. As we began to go up to the door, I stated to JoJo that I was afraid of doing this because of the thought of getting in trouble. Even though I was really brave, I was also nervous but still did it because I didn't want to disappoint the others. She had said something I can't quite remember, and after that I remember saying, "What if we go up to the door and there's someone standing at the window?" And this is the part where I would never understand. As soon as I said that, someone very skinny in a Santa Claus suit started walking up to the window. And I'm not kidding, I mean, as soon as I said that, someone started walking up to the window. This was strange because, although it was getting close to Christmas, it was still in November, and we hadn't even endured Thanksgiving yet. Me and JoJo ran away screaming, and so did everyone else. We told the other girls what had happened, and they asked us what the person looked like. That was the moment where me and JoJo looked at each other and remembered that we didn't see the face on this person. I didn't even remember seeing the hands, but JoJo said the hands were white. We went inside our house just to calm down. And 30 minutes later, we went back outside just to take a look at the house again. And I kid you not, when we got to the window that the blinds were in, it looked as if someone was peeking their head looking at us. The other girls thought it was a sticker, but the blinds were also moving at the same time, so I wasn't sure. We went back into the house just to try to put everything behind us. Later that night, we were playing hide and go seek in the dark blindfolded, and when it was me and JoJo's turn to seek, we both felt that something was off. Kinda like a feeling that someone was watching us, and we couldn't shake that feeling off. The other girls don't believe me and JoJo about what we saw, and they think it was a prank, but I know what we saw, and it will forever be buried in my mind. Why was this person in a Santa Claus suit? Why didn't we see a face? How did they know we were coming? So many questions go through my head just thinking about it. Although this might not be your typical scary true horror story, this was terrifying to experience, and I will never forget it, nor will I ever go to that house again. When I was a little girl, 9 years old or so, I was playing at the school down the street from my house. It was the middle of the summer, and myself and my friend were hanging around watching the boys play street hockey. One of the boys called my name and said a man in the parking lot was looking for me. The parking lot was mostly obscured by the building, but I could see an old 70s style van that hadn't been there earlier. I was walking over to the van when the mother of one of the other kids showed up looking for her son and asked me what I was doing. When I told her someone in the van was looking for me, she took my hand and started to walk with me, and the van pulled out and sped away. My friend's mom walked me home, and I wasn't allowed out of my yard without my parents for the rest of the summer. I was so upset and didn't understand why I was being punished. It was only years later that I understood that I was likely being targeted by some scumbag for who knows what. Thanks, Mrs. Gibson, wherever you are. This story happened 2 years ago when I was 25. I'm a home repairman and I often do work around the wealthy neighborhoods in New Jersey, which is where I live. I used to do some home repairs for a retired rich couple. Their names were Rod and Dorothy. They often went on vacations and allowed their children to rent their summer beach house. But before they would stay there, Rod and Dorothy would hire me to do repairs. This would have been the third time that I fixed the house up. Rod requested that I clean the gutters, fix the chimney, and make sure the beachside furniture would stay dry in the shed in case it rained. Rod and Dorothy allowed me to stay the night in the house in case of the thunderstorm, which had happened once before. I arrived at the beach house around 3 p.m. It took me about 3 hours to do my normal routine when it started pouring rain. Because the roads would often flood, I knew it would be unsafe to drive, so I called Dorothy and told her I would be staying the night. She said that was okay, and that I could help myself to anything in the kitchen. At around 7 a.m., I got hungry and went to the fridge to make myself a sandwich, when I heard the sound of a glass breaking from the living room. I grabbed a butter knife and tiptoed to the living room, where I saw a broken window and a rock on the ground. Rainwater started to pour into the living room. Before I could even react to what just happened, I heard a large pound on the front door. I ran to the door and looked through the peephole and saw a man with long, wet red hair, wearing nothing but shorts and a large, muddy green t-shirt. The man looked deranged and was breathing heavily. For whatever reason, I yelled out to the man, "What do you want?" The man reacted, looking through the peephole. He actually smiled at me, showing his stained brown teeth. The man said in a very deep voice, "Open the door." I screamed, "I'm calling 911. I ran to the house phone in the kitchen and dialed for the police, but the weather interfered with the service, so I couldn't call for help. I ran back to the door and looked in the peephole and saw the man holding a flower pot over his head. I jumped back from the door as the man threw the flower pot at the door, and he screamed like a maniac. I opened the door with the knife in hand and pushed the man down with my shoulder. He fell down the small steps. I held the knife up and yelled, "Get out of here." The man took off running down the road and was laughing like a madman. I went back inside and locked every door and window. After about an hour of panicking, I noticed the storm settled down, so I took the opportunity to call the police, informing them of the situation. The operator sent an officer to the house along with the sketch artist. I gave my description and they left the house. I didn't sleep much that night. Rod and Dorothy sent their oldest son Harry to the house the following morning, so I was off the hook. I got paid an extra $50 for what I experienced, which was a nice bonus, but not worth it. I have no idea who or what that man's intentions were, but I like to think he's locked up somewhere away from people. This happened to me as a kid, maybe around 2 or 3. My mom and I lived in a cheap single-wide trailer in a real crappy trailer park. I stayed with my aunts overnight a lot because my mom would work graveyard shifts. Anyway, she picked me up from my aunt's house around 7 a.m. one day, and we went back to our trailer. I remember immediately not wanting to go inside, begging to ride my bike, but my exhausted mother just wanted to go to sleep, so we went inside. She laid in bed, and being the annoying toddler that I was, I kept waking my mom up asking to go outside and ride my bike, which we usually kept in my room because if If we left it outside, it would get stolen. I told my mom I didn't want to go play in my room, so I asked to lay with her. While we were laying there, for some reason I told my mom that there was someone in my closet and he wanted to hurt me. I don't know why I said it. She got up to show me that no one was there. And when she walked in my room, the folding closet door started to open and it got stuck on something. Turns out, a previously convicted child molester had skipped bail in a new trial, watched my mom's coming and goings for a few days, and broke into our house while she was at work. He took my bike in the closet with him, hoping I would come home looking for it. The only thing that kept him from jumping out attacking my mom was when the spokes got caught in the bottom of the door. Needless to say, we ran like hell out of the house and got in the car and drove away. Unfortunately, the guy got out of the house before the cops showed up. There's really nothing to follow up with. I'm just glad we got away.
Nightmare Files.